Hello, everybody. Right now, I'd like to talk to you about something that I don't like talking about. Joe Rogan. Yes, one of the better podcasters, well, okay, one of the top podcasters in the country. Used to be number one, but he kept on bootlicking Elon Musk and Donald Trump, so he's now down to three. Here's the deal about Joe Rogan. He's somebody that I've actually checked out in the past. I've never really watched a full episode because it's 3 hours. I'm not really like a 3 hour podcast kind of guy. But I've checked out some of his clips in the past. I remember when he'd talk about like UFOs and he'd talk about ancient aliens and Bigfoot, and they'd have musical guests and he'd talk really a bunch of stuff. It was entertainment. It wasn't really intellectual. It was pseudo-intellectualism, but it was fun. And then basically, the short version is he became a fascist. He became a mouthpiece for an authoritarian government and did everything he could to help an authoritarian government take place. So a guy that really cries about freedom and being oppressed while he's got millions of dollars, he's actually helping people be oppressed. He lives in Texas, where there's a lot of people that are brown. A lot of indigenous Mexican Americans. What I mean by that is there are a lot of Mexicans that actually came from Mexico that had more of an indigenous ethnicity, and then they came north to the border. Short version is all the Europeans don't move because they have money. But back to that. So he's in a state filled with brown people. But now, ICE is actually just going after all immigrants. They're using the exact Gestapo playbook. They're just escalating the same way the Gestapo is. They're hiring any idiot that joins them, just like the Gestapo did. It's to the point where there's people that have literacy issues, just like the Gestapo did. So in other words, it's just a bunch of morons that are going around hurting people, not knowing what they're doing, just like the Gestapo. So what is Joe Rogan? He loves freedom, right? He loves America. No. He used his mouthpiece and he used his absolute platform to advance this agenda. He did everything he could to get Trump's message across. He did everything he could to get him elected. He's been his mouthpiece for the past year. So he's recently had some comments, and I'll post an article. Oh, God, I actually have to post an NBC link, which makes me vomit in my mouth because those people are just garbage too. But I'm going to have to do it because every now and then they're capable of journalism. But I'm going to go ahead and do that, and you can read more into what NBC's take is on it. But Joe Rogan is now pretending like he didn't do this. He's wondering, are we going to be the Gestapo now? Yes, we are going to be the Gestapo now, because Trump is doing that. He's following the exact playbook. He's trying to put a authoritarian government in place. Now, the moderate, quote-unquote, Republicans, they're trying to gerrymander us into a softer autocracy, like they do in Hungary. So you either want a full-blown fascism, or you want like a softer fascism. So it's either authoritarian or authoritarian light. And he's going to bootlick anybody he can to do everything he can to use his platform to advance that agenda. So now he's crying about, are we the Gestapo now? Yes, we are, as I said before, because we're doing it. We're taking immigrants and we put them into El Salvador, and that was during last year. But those people have not been released for misdemeanors and civil infractions. Overstaying your visa, by the way, is a misdemeanor or a civil infraction. The consequences may include not being able to come back again. But that's not it. Sometimes you just get hassled a little bit if you try to re-enter. It's really not a severe crime. So there's people that are actually in El Salvador's prison. There's been people that have actually been taken to other countries like Sudan. Like, really? And then there's actually people that have been disappeared completely. There's people that have gone, have never come back from custody. They're picking up American citizens that disagree with them. They're picking up protesters. And, what else? They're being loyal to Donald Trump. They have no professional standards of any kind. Even the idiots in the Supreme Court have done everything they could to help him occasionally get bothered by him. So I don't understand what he's trying to do right now. I don't know what he's trying to position himself for, and I don't get what he's trying to do. Or maybe I do get what he's trying to do. Let me try and explain it. Joe Rogan knows what he's doing is wrong. He has built up this little world filled with all these little reactionary little bootlickers, and he doesn't want to lose his fan base because anybody that is an adult, that is emotional mature, that isn't a bigot, a fascist, or a piece of human garbage, is absolutely tapped out of him. All he has left is just the most embarrassing parts of our country. And if he starts doing the right thing now, he's going to lose everything. He's going to lose his little podcast. He can't pretend like Bigfoot exists and that a bunch of aliens came down and built the pyramids. Now, I'm pretty open to a lot of stuff. I even alluded to before because he would talk about things like Bigfoot or he'd talk about UFOs, which I'm open to believing exists. I think we should be. And now that we're now in a part of society where we're talking about things like UFOs, and I don't know about Bigfoot yet. He was ahead of the curve on things like UFOs. But he's completely just a fascist mouthpiece. He used his platform to help other celebrities. He used his platform to help people get their movies watched. He's helped people get their CDs sold, which is great because I'm a musician. It's good to see people succeed, and knowing that behind the scenes the whole business is screwed up. So you see what I mean? I'm going to try to establish a pattern. Joe Rogan's got good in him. He's got enough good in him to know what he's doing is wrong. He's willing to go out of his way to help people, but he's not willing to lose what he has. He will absolutely be a fascist little mouthpiece. He will do everything he can to help the little authoritarian agenda move forward. In this little moment of clarity where he's like, are we really going to be the Gestapo? Ask yourself that, Joe. Ask yourself another question, too. Are you really going to be Trump's mouthpiece while he's implementing Gestapo-like policies? Because I think he will. Well, that's all right, though. He makes so much money, he'd probably never even hear this. But as long as you do, just remember, Joe Rogan is just a mouthpiece of an authoritarian government. That is what he is now. He put in all that work and broke through and became this big podcast guy and opened up the door for even people like me just to absolutely get on his knees and open his mouth for any fascist that comes along and drops their pants. And that is pathetic. Beta male to the max. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. If you want more content like this, like and subscribe. If you want notifications every time new content is dropped, ring the bell.